to send it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You know how we are supposed to be wearing fabric masks in the U.S., although it's become a political argument whether they work or not. We're supposed to be wearing them, so I want to sew one that has kind of a long beak, so that
Yes, it's the perfect mask for social distancing.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see anybody wearing it. I'm the only one, and I can't. I have actually a bunch of them, and as you can see, I have them in black, like on your channel, and I have them. I even have them in gold, in fancy, nice.
How
You know,
did you
and I
buy
can't get
so
rid of
many
them. I have 10 of them, but I can't get rid of them. I'm trying to sell them on eBay, but I can't. eBay banned it. Yes, they're saying no because they say they were accusing me of selling medical masks when obviously they're not medical masks. I you know I put in a title, like Halloween mask, but eBay also has like an algorithm, and the algorithm just sees mask and doctor, and because I was also saying like plague doctor, Halloween plague doctor mask, and the eBay algorithm deleted the listing, saying saying that medical masks are not allowed on eBay, blah blah blah. So it's so stupid. So now I have a bunch of those masks that I don't know what to do with other than scare little kids. So anyway, I started recording now. So maybe you want to introduce yourself real quick.
Oh, sure. So hi, my name is Liz, though I go by Plague Doctor on YouTube. And I've just started in this bardcore trend that I've discovered on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, you started making music.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to ask you because I saw the piano behind you. Is that what you're using when you're doing your music?
So far, I'm just using it to practice on. In my first 2 recordings that I've put on YouTube so far, I asked permission from other YouTubers if I could use their tracks. So the first one I borrowed from the channel's named. I'm going to pronounce it wrong, but it's I think it's named Janae, Jawnae. He or she posted that instrumental track in a separate video and said, if you want to use this for your own recording, just use it and credit me. So of course I credited that person in my video, the Linkin Park cover. And then the next one, I got permission from another YouTuber named Constantine to use the track for Never Gonna Give You Up. I hope to use this soon, but for now I'm just practicing with it.
Yes, I felt very pranked when I watched that.
That was definitely my goal, and I understand that it's not medieval style. It's medieval style is much more straight tone, no vibrato. But I thought it's just naturally funnier if the "Never Gonna Give You Up" video has some operatic sounds. That's just my opinion.
So you don't do the melody yourself. You just add vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I your first one, which what was it? Yes, right, the Linkin Park. Because I'm not kidding. I don't know who Linkin Park is. I haven't heard of them.
Fair enough.
They're not famous in Germany. But I really liked your cover. It's the first time I haven't heard the original, but I really liked the cover because it was very operatic. It was you sound a little like, and I think that was the goal, to make it sound like a bit like an opera singer.
Yeah, my training was in opera. I have a scientific background, but during college, I also discovered that I really like to sing. So I took operatic training for the years of college before I went a different direction with my career.
Yeah, can we mention that, because I think that's actually really interesting. Because your channel name, I hope I'm always getting it backwards. I think was it Plague Doctor or Doctor Plague?
Yeah. I named myself Plague Doctor MD PhD because
I first thought that was a joke, but you actually are a doctor, and you actually are a PhD. You actually have a PhD, and you are an MD. So that you didn't just put that in your channel name. You actually have those degrees.
Yeah, so I thought it was a funny joke because unfortunately, America is in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, so that's where I got the name Plague Doctor from. But yeah, so I finished my MD and PhD in 2017. Uh, I went to college at MIT and I studied biology there. And they actually have a wonderful music program, so I got very into the classical singing there. After that, I went to University of Texas Southwestern in Dallas. I should mention none of my opinions represent the university. I know it's a very American disclaimer, but I have to say it.
We're not even saying anything political or anything.
Yeah. Yes. I just did something very American there. I know. But yeah, I did my MD and PhD at UT Southwestern, and right now I'm training in radiation oncology. So I'm a cancer doctor, and I treat tumors with radiation. And I've got 2 more years of that, and then I'll finally be an adult.
Okay. That's an interesting way to put it. Okay. So you actually studied both medicine and music.
I would say I definitely studied medicine. I didn't get to study music as much as I would have liked. I'm not a I had a lot of fun, of course, taking voice lessons, but I wouldn't consider myself a singer. I do consider myself a doctor.
Okay, so you didn't finish your studies in music, but you did start.
I sorry, can you repeat that?
I'm saying you didn't finish it, but you did start it.
Oh yeah, I didn't start a formal music degree or anything. It was just I took some of their music repertoire, some of their music curriculum, I should say, and I had a wonderful voice teacher named Donald Wilkinson who was very patient with me. He actually himself had an engineering degree before he switched to music, so I think he understood a little bit how my brain worked. He was very encouraging.
So when you decided to call yourself a plague doctor on YouTube, was that actually did you already start making bardcore music? Was it because of the bardcore music, or was it simply because you were a medical doctor during the pandemic?
Oh, both, because I wanted something that referred to my day job, but also I wanted something kind of medieval sounding, since the bardcore trend is focused on medieval music. So I thought, oh, Plague Doctor, kind of.
Yeah. We haven't really explained what bardcore is, but since I did the other video with Canticles, and we explained it there, I'm kind of assuming people kind of know it by the time I upload this video.
Mm-hmm.
But do you want to explain it? What is it to you?
Oh,
Maybe that's
to me, it's I'm going to have a very simplistic definition, but to me, it's a trend of covering modern songs with the medieval music style, which maybe arises from everyone right now feeling like they're in turmoil and turning to music and art.
Yes, I think that's also my theory, because it just started like at the height of the lockdown, right?
Yeah.
So you'd think it'd be like an older music genre or something, you know? You'd think it'd be older, but it just started basically 2 months ago or something.
As I understand, yeah.
Yes, and my theory is that it started basically because people were in lockdown. They didn't really know what to do, so they just came up with doing that, and also because of the I want to avoid certain keywords, but okay, I'm just gonna call it pandemic, because of the pandemic. Maybe they felt very depressed, and then they were like reminded of the plague, and that's kind of how it came about, I think. At least that's my theory, because no one really knows.
I agree with you. And certainly I'm reminded of the plague as well, hence my name. Yeah.
So far, I think you've only done 2 videos on your channel, because you just started out.
Yeah, I think my channel is about a week and a half old. Today I started recording a cover of Chandelier by Sia. And some people have requested that I do less vibrato because, I mean, honestly, it's not historically accurate to add an operatic vibrato to this music. That's more 1800s.
The whole genre is not, the whole thing is not historically accurate. I think that's kind of the point, that it's precisely not historically accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's interesting though. I think certainly some people it kind of hits a nerve if you take a 21st century song, have 14th century or so instrumentals, and then you add 18th century singing style. I think it offends people more. So I'm trying for this one to do more straight tone. But we'll see.
Wait, isn't that the fun of it? I think that's the fun of it, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm really bad at music. All I play is the ocarina. I still have it here, but I'm really bad at it. Wait a minute. I have a really small one. Wait.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. So it's. Can you see it? It's really small. It's more of a. It's more of a pendant. You can wear it as a pendant. And that's the only thing I can play, and I can only play one song, and even that I'm not gonna play it because I'm really bad at it. I thought, because it's such a small instrument, I thought it would be easy to play. I was very wrong, it actually makes it more difficult to play. But I'm really bad at music. I went to a certain kind of private school that's probably not well known in the US, where everyone is required to learn an instrument. I'm the only one. I think I'm the only one ever to graduate from that school without officially having learned an instrument back then. Because I'm really bad. I'm really bad at playing anything, really. But I sometimes my wife also has like a really small instrument, really crappy instrument, and sometimes we don't necessarily play any song. We just play whatever comes to mind, and it sounds awful, but it's fun to us, And that's what I'm trying to get at. It doesn't matter what other people think, right? As long as you're having fun, and as long as this is what you want to do, then do it. Right?
Yeah, I think certainly for me it's a nice escape, so that just once a week on the weekends I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about the pandemic. I am just kind of making goofy stuff to put on YouTube, which I very much enjoy. And in terms of styles, yeah, I think some people are very put off by the operatics, and I mean I agree it's historically inaccurate, but I also think certain songs sound funnier with opera. I have to admit, for Chandelier by Sia, which I recorded this morning, I'm in the process of splicing it together. I think it sounds better with kind of a medieval straight tone style. I guess when I first heard it, in fact, what was it, 2013, 2014, I thought, oh, this would sound nice as a chamber music piece, and then never really got around to it. It's very odd to find that now the trend on YouTube is something I've kind of been interested in.
You should have done it back then. You would have been the first.
Oh, well, actually, I found some old covers of other people from like 2015. So I think it might have had the opposite effect, where it just would have been released and no one would have cared. So which I find that for some reason everyone's mentality is changing, where they are more open to this sort of music. No.
Yeah, I think I tell you, my like I said, I don't. I'm I'm really bad at playing music myself. I just like listening to it. So I don't. I'm not able to make any covers myself. I'm not good enough for that. But I really like just listening to it, and it's also one aspect I like is also what you mentioned, because it kind of offends some people,
Oh
but
yeah,
that's exactly what I like. That's
yeah.
exactly what I like about it. So like, because my wife, she really likes like pop music, like from the 80s and 90s,
Oh, me too.
and
Me too.
and I really hate it.
Sorry to hear
I I like classical music. I like Verdi and Mozart and basically I like all the requiems like by Verdi and by Mozart and that kind of stuff. And she hates that.
what? I like them both.
So so then I discovered Bardcore, and that was perfect,
How do you
because
like your
I,
marriage?
I can listen to her kind of music in a way that I like, So it's all songs that she likes, but in a way that I like listening to them.
Okay.
Of course, she hates it. It annoys her, and I'm like, but that's what you wanted, right? You wanted like those pop songs that now I'm listening to them. That's what you wanted, and it's annoying her a lot. But that's the fun of it.
Yeah. I was funny. I was gonna suggest, oh, maybe this has found you guys a compromise in your marriage, but no, it's I
No, no, no. This is a
I'm
myth.
joking. Yeah.
You're never gonna find anyone who's gonna like the exact same things that you
Oh
do.
yeah.
And besides, if that other guy would be exactly like you, that would be boring, right?
Yeah.
You might as well just marry yourself. So uh, actually, me and my wife, we disagree on everything.
Yeah. My husband actually.
but
My
but we're happily married. We have been for 10 years. We've been
oh,
happily.
okay. I've been married for 5 years. My husband only likes heavy metal, so we don't listen to each other's music at all.
See, but that's what you need to do. You take some heavy metal music and make hardcore covers.
Yes, I like this. Yeah. I'll have to cover. I'll have to ask him what he listens to and then ruin it. Yeah.
No, 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 no. He'll think you ruined it, but in reality, you will have improved it. Of course, you will have improved it a lot. Trust me. It might just take him some time to realize that, though.
Yeah.
You have to play it to him repeatedly before he really starts to appreciate how much you improved it. Trust me.
Brainwashing. Yes.
um, yeah, yeah, and I'm glad. I'm glad you're making I'm glad you're making a third cover, and I hope you will go on make it
Oh yeah.
regularly. Like maybe once a week, or what are you aiming
Yeah.
at?
That's my plan. To do it once a week on the weekends, just to kind of. I feel the weekends are easier for me just in terms of having a few hours where I don't allow myself to think about work. And yeah, I'm luckily at the point in my training when the work is the work from the hospital is less intense, so there's time to do that sort of a thing.
Yeah, and I really like I I really like this. Well, maybe we can. You're basically one of the few people who does hardcore vocals, because no one else, or almost no
Oh
almost one else does vocals. Everyone just does the melodies.
yeah.
So I really like that you're focusing on the vocals.
Oh, thanks. Well, another person you should check out if you haven't heard of her already is Hildegard von Blingen. Uh,
But she's like, yeah, but she
yeah,
but everyone knows her.
yeah.
I don't need to I don't need to make a video about her.
You need to boost her. I'm just saying
Yeah,
she
yeah.
exists. In fact, she kind of got me into it. So I didn't know it was a thing until I heard some of her covers, and I was like, okay, this I enjoy. Her voice is more classically medieval than mine, so I think it suits the style very well too.
Yeah, she really does. She's overdoing the medieval aspect. She makes it so
Oh,
she makes it sound so medieval that it actually starts uh, to not sound medieval at all. It doesn't.
I think it's great.
He's making it so over the top that it starts to become less authentic. If that makes any sense.
Oh, I,
I
I,
I, I think.
I love her music. So, yeah.
No, I like it too, and it was for me as well. It was the first Bardcore cover I heard, and I think it was no, actually, it wasn't the first. There was like there was someone else before her, but for most people, her covers are the first Bardcore covers they heard.
Yeah, yeah. Especially like the "What Is Love" one, because I was very much a '90s kid, and kids these days don't know what a bop that song was. So I'm glad she's bringing it back.
Yeah, I remember it from the 90s as well.
Yeah,
It sounded very different back then.
yeah. It's very strange to be able to just watch the music video on YouTube now. Like you just pull it up and it's there. You don't have to, watch MTV all day just to catch a few minutes of that music video.
MTV, I don't think MTV even has music on it anymore. You know, when the way I remember MTV, it was nothing but music. You know, it was
Yeah.
only music. But
And then,
now I think they don't even have music.
yeah, it's reality TV shows last I checked, I think. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so I think it's also, yeah, things are changing a lot. You know, the
Mhm.
musical styles are changing a lot. And now they're, I don't know, it's, well, everything is kind of getting, it's not even heavy metal. It's like black metal and death metal um, and the instruments people are playing is like chainsaw or something. It's
What's the difference between black metal and death metal? Because I don't understand these nuances.
I never really understood it either.
Oh,
I think black metal is like with more screaming, but you have screaming in the other one as well. So uh, for me, to me, both is just screaming and no melody. No, I think that's actually the difference. In one, you still have a melody, kind of, not really,
which
and
one?
in the other, you don't even need to play notes or anything. You just go blah, blah, and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
um, one more thing on a bit more serious note, if you want to talk about it,
Sure.
um, because you're a medical doctor, it's a bit off topic, but I think yeah, well, I'm interested. How I mean, I'm assuming with the pandemic and stuff, it's gotten better now. Um, but how did you experience that? Can you share a little bit?
Sure. So I should admit, I'm not an ICU doctor. I don't do internal medicine, which is often the team that takes care of people who are admitted. So I work in a clinic, um, and we see we see patients who need radiation for their cancer, and we 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 usually don't see them for any specific, you know, respiratory complaints. They might have them when they come, but we're there to talk about something different. That said, our hospital has a policy that, of course, we ask them their travel history and we screen them, and everyone is supposed to wear a mask in the clinic. It's not always perfect compliance with that. I think sometimes patients really want to take their masks off because it's not comfortable for them. But that's kind of the basics of how we are trying to reduce exposure, especially because our patients are often on chemo and immunocompromised, so that's a concern. I, however, have not actually been in clinic since April because I started a research year at that time. Usually our program has us have the option of doing a year of research. And around April, I realized I was pregnant. So I was like, oh, help. Because I didn't want to, unfortunately, being pregnant, you are more immunocompromised. And so I would be at higher risk of catching coronavirus than the average population. Additionally,
Gonna say you gotta be double careful then,
yeah, especially now I'm in my
and
second
then
trimester.
you're responsible for two lives.
Yeah, especially now I'm in my second trimester, and that's, from what I understand, the most dangerous trimester because the kid is starting to crowd your lungs, and so you have less respiratory reserve in the event that you get sick. Yeah, and so you might be in more distress, need mechanical ventilation sooner. But the disadvantage of the trimester additionally is that you can't just do a crash C-section to get the baby out, which they might have the option of if you're in the third trimester. Because if you crash C-section me at 21 weeks, unfortunately the child is not likely to live. So I'm just kind of hiding a lot, to be honest with you. So I can't really comment on the current state of our clinic.
No, but in a way, you're lucky because I think a lot of people are not taking, and you were getting to that a little with some of the patients you were talking about in your clinic, and I experienced that as well. That a lot of people are not taking it seriously enough. They don't, because especially at the beginning, a lot of people had like that mentality that it's just like the flu and masks don't help anyway, and they had kind of like that kind of mentality, and for some people that sort of very irresponsible mentality never really went away. And yeah, I'm not gonna get too much into that because then
Yeah.
but uh, yeah, that's my feeling that because I also have to deal with a lot of people who are not taking it
Yeah, even in
seriously
Germany.
and who are not wearing their masks. And
I'm
uh,
surprised because in Germany the curve is so flat. Yeah.
hmm?
I'm surprised because in Germany the curve is quite flattened.
Exactly. But a lot of people don't understand even that concept about keeping the curve flat. They don't understand why it's important to wear masks. They don't understand that, and that always annoys me a lot. So I do try to I have no idea about medicine or anything, but at least I can understand that concept that why it's important to wear masks and why it's important to treat this seriously. It's
Yeah.
not a joke. Even if you might not, if some people might not show any symptoms, they can basically people can still be contagious.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
people don't realize that, or just are very irresponsible when it comes to that, and that always annoys me because I actually I think I had it, and it was
Oh wow.
very it was very bad. I'm not 100% sure because at that time that was at the very beginning basically. That was when was that in February. It was in February, so a couple of months back. So I'm fine now, but
Okay.
it was at the very beginning, and uh, me and my wife, we took a plane and traveled to some other countries. And after we returned, we both started to show symptoms. And
Mhm.
at that time, because at that time it was just starting out, and so it wasn't possible to get tested yet. So
Yeah.
I didn't get tested. So I don't know 100% sure if I had it, but I had all the symptoms. I had the shortness of breath. I was feeling very bad, and I had very high fever,
Oh
uh,
wow.
extremely high fever, and it didn't. It kind of felt like a flu, but like much worse, because I had the flu before, but it's like that, but like 5 times worse. So it
Okay.
was really, I was, and for a long time it dragged on for many weeks, and I was feeling really miserable,
Oh yeah.
and and that's why I understand how important it is to take this serious.
Yeah. Have you considered getting tested for antibodies so that you could donate convalescent plasma? I'm not sure if Germany is using much convalescent plasma, but certainly in the US, for critically ill patients, they seek donations.
Well, I did go. I did go to my local doctor here several times, and he knows about all the symptoms I had. He knows everything. So I'm guessing if well, I'm guessing if I could be of any help, he would have told me so. And also because I never got tested. I wanted to get tested. I was trying very hard to get tested,
Okay.
but at that time it just wasn't possible to get tested.
Sure.
So and because I'm guessing because I never got tested, uh, if he needs someone with antibodies, he will just take someone who got officially tested.
Understood. I I'm not sure how medicine is organized in Germany. I admit I have no knowledge of it, but
Yeah, so if I'm going to talk about the state of medicine in Germany, it's going to get a little political.
fair enough. Yeah.
Um, because here we have basically free healthcare for everyone,
Mhm.
and it's a total paradise, and everything is great, as you can totally see. Because that's kind of the thing. I think it would have been better if 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 the test for the virus would have cost a couple of thousand euros, and then I would have been able to get tested after I paid a couple of thousand euros, than not being able to get tested at all. But
Okay. So you're saying like no private option was very.
it is free, but I still think that getting tested and paying for it is still better than free not getting tested.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Sometimes I do hear of cases where there's a mix of private and public healthcare. So I've heard that in the UK, for instance, of course, there's free public healthcare, but there are private options where you might be able to be worked into a clinic, and they have a very private healthcare luxury feel for for specializations that are not necessarily well represented in public healthcare. But I that's interesting that there's not even an option for private access to a test for coronavirus where you are living.
No, I don't think. No. I think when it comes to the testing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the tests are always free for
Mm-hmm.
everyone, but because of that, not everyone, including some people who maybe would really need to get tested, can get tested.
Okay.
So it's basically the same. It doesn't really, you'd think it improves the situation because you're saying, like, well, if it's free for everyone, then people can get tested regardless of whether or not they have the money. Then of course it's still not the case that everyone who needs to get tested can get tested, because if it doesn't cost anything, everyone wants to get tested, and a lot of people who might really need the test can't get tested again. So it doesn't really make the situation worse, but it doesn't really make the situation better
Yeah,
either.
you certainly have to have a system that triages the patients by need, and you'd have to trust that that works well. But I think what I'm hearing from you is that you are frustrated that maybe it does not
Mm.
triage people by need necessarily. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's my long answer to your question is I have some experience as a doctor during the pandemic, but unfortunately not as much as you might have thought, because my program allowed me to start my research year early to kind of protect myself, since it turns out I am now myself immunocompromised, which, hey, I'm very thankful for their accommodations.
I think that pretty much covers everything, right?
I appreciate all your questions, and you telling me about this. What was it, ocarina, or
Oh, you don't know?
no?
Uh, no, I'm too embarrassed. Well, I'm not gonna play anything because I'm too embarrassed. Play,
Okay.
I play the notes all wrong. It
Okay,
comes out.
fair enough.
It,
But
but no, this is a pendant ocarina. You probably know the ones that are a bit bigger,
yeah,
uh, like
I'm, that's so
uh,
cool.
in the Zelda games. They have one that is a bit bigger, and those are actually also easier to play because here the different notes depend on basically on the combination of holes you cover. So it's difficult to explain. It's a bit more complicated.
Sounds fiddly. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
It's, the great thing about it is that it's so small. You know, that also makes it very hard for me to play to get a sound out of it that doesn't sound all wrong. It's very hard. So I'm not
Yeah,
gonna play.
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think if the margin of error is so small for where to put your fingers, I would have a lot of trouble.
Yeah, yes, and this one is especially small, and I have especially big fingers.
Yeah, but I appreciate what you're saying about it being convenient in some sense, that you can just carry it around, because that's kind of what got me into singing. It's portable, so
Oh,
so yeah,
okay, singing is even more portable.
yeah.
Okay.
It's manual.
Um, yes, and I very much appreciate your taking the time and in going in all into all those aspects of the music, and also as your life as a doctor, as a real life doctor, and yes, and I think that yeah, I think that's very interesting. I found it very interesting, and I think it's also going to be very interesting for everyone else. And uh, everything we covered, I think, is
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again, and I hope you have a great. Is it evening there?
Yes, yes. It's the sun is setting now. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I will have you. I'll let you enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you
Oh,
very
wait,
much.
mm, before I forget, I'm gonna link your channel in the description if that's okay with you.
Yep.
Yes, so people can check it out.
All right. Much appreciated. Bye.